because California is the fifth largest economy in the world. And somehow Anthony Rendon, who is the Speaker of the Assembly of Democrats, says that he was for single payer before he even ever heard of Obamacare. And my point is, well, then you would think you'd have a plan to implement it once you got into a position of power. But he got into a position of power, and he's like, oh, shit, I forgot. That I was supposed to come up with a plan to institute that thing, and now there's just no way to do it. So here is someone running against that guy, Anthony Rendon, Maria Estrada. She's running against him in Assembly District 63. Maria, how are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for coming. How did you like my assessment of Anthony Rendon?
I think you were too kind.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, my God. Tell me more.
I spoke with them personally. I met with them in Paramount, which is a city that is highly afflicted with a lot of environmental issues, and there's a class action lawsuit against 7 of the companies.
Really?
That have there's a lot of hexavalent chromium 6 in the community, and Southeast LA has the highest levels of high rates of cancer, lung cancer, leukemia,
no kidding,
environmental asthma, and allergies, and we also have the highest rates of uninsured children and the second highest rates of uninsured adults in the entire county of Los Angeles, and he knows this. So the fact that he would block a bill like that is it's criminal, and he should be ashamed to show his face in the district. So
when you met with him,
yeah.
And how did that meeting go?
Well, I mean, I just said to him, like, I just want to be clear what we're saying here. It's not Donald Trump and it's not the Republicans that are blocking Californians from having health care.
Oh.
It's the Democrats, because we're in control of the state, but specifically you that did this. And he says, well, that's not a fair assessment. I said, well, whether it's fair or not isn't irrelevant. It's accurate. He knows what he did. And the fact is that there's a lot of people in that community that are suffering right now, and it's a very poor community, and people have to pay to $60 an hour to rent the soccer fields because there's money short in the city in Cudahy, and $120 for a emergency hospital visit is a lot of money for someone in that community. And yet this is something that's happening all the time, and people are like one paycheck away of not being able to pay rent, and here he does this. It's really disgusting.
Ron, can you send me a link to a map for the 63rd district? I want to show people where it is, because you can say today that I can't even visualize it. Where is it?
Bell, Cudahy, Linwood, Lakewood.
Is. Oh, I know Bell.
Well, Bell's
because they're famous.
Yeah,
they're infamous.
Yeah. Well, actually, a friend of mine that I went to high school with was at Thurgood Marshall Elementary a couple weekends ago, and 4 of the school directors in the previous 4 weeks had quit. Proposition K was a proposition that taxed the community for Linwood Unified School District to repair the schools, and there's a lot of money missing. So,
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, but this is just that district's a magnet for corruption.
Yeah, it is.
And coincidentally, all of the city council members, school board members, and mayors have all endorsed him.
So now, how are people receiving you in the district? How's it going? How's your campaign going?
Great. I was actually just canvassing before I got here, and everybody's super receptive. The problem is that a lot of people are so disengaged politically because they're so discouraged. Just going to a city council meeting, I mean, anybody could tell you if they've ever been to like the Cudahy city council meetings. They're just really disrespectful and
you mean the council is disrespectful to the people?
To the residents, yeah. They treat them really poorly. They have police there to intimidate them. It's just really disgusting. It's the same in Compton. So, I mean, this is just in these neighborhoods. And then people get discouraged. They don't want to go. And they're already working 8, 10, 12-hour days. They have to get a babysitter, do the kids' homework. And these meetings go 10, 11 at night sometimes. So you take your time to go there and to be treated like that. It's.
And so what did you do before you ran for, you lived in the district most of your life. And what did you do before you decided to run for his seat?
Actually, I'm an accountant.
Okay.
So I actually was working for a company in Beverly Hills, but I actually moved out of the district in '89. That's in a lot of drugs and a lot of shooting was going on, and they actually California. So I actually raised my kids in Moore Park, and I was there for 27 years. And then January of 2016, I moved back.
And did you move back? Oh, I gotta change this. Hold on. Did you send me that thing yet? Did you email it or did you text? Oh, it hasn't come through.
Okay, while you do that, let me talk to Maria. Is that cool? While you're looking for that?
I'm looking for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna look for that. Okay, so Maria, why should I vote for you? What's the, if I know it's hard to get people to vote right now, but what can we do to get them to go out and vote for you? Why should you get my vote?
Because I actually am indicative of that district, of the community there. My mother still lives there. They bought the house in 73. I have no desire to any financial gain from this. I have a good job. Like there was nothing in me that would have prompted me to run, other than that I felt it's necessary, and I have a responsibility to my community. I still have people from elementary school that still live there. And even though I moved away, I do feel like I owe that community, and my mother's still there. I still have a lot of family there. And I think we all owe our communities to pay back our communities, especially in a community like mine, where people are just really suffering, and they're doing everything they can to get by, and the people that they voted in to represent them are fucking them over every chance they get, and it's just not right. And I don't have patience for it. The Democratic Party has been running the state since 1958, and they're to blame for the environmental issues going on in our state. For the economic issues, we have high level of poverty, homelessness is record levels. I mean, we have LAPD is the worst police department in the country, and their Bill of Rights is they have more rights than your average citizen. The fact that a policeman could go in a community and murder somebody and the no repercussions is disgusting. So, and then the fact is that we pay not only for the cleanups of all these environmental issues, like what happened with the excise plant. Cristina Garcia wrote a bill taxing us $176 million. The speaker approved that bill, and it alleviated them of financial responsibility for the cleanup. So now are they fucking us one way? They're fucking us the other way. And so then you have the police who are going around not policing but abusing their authority.
Exactly.
And between 2011 and 2015, the American taxpayer paid over $1 billion for settlements, and that's just only the people that took it that far. So this is going on. You go to look Baltimore and Chicago,
New York,
the Queens is like terrible. The Bronx,
it's all over,
and LAPD, and so we're paying for them to abuse us. So they should be responsible, just like
that should come out of their pension fund or something.
Absolutely, and just like these companies, the onus of proving that they poison us shouldn't be on us. It should be on them.
Right.
If you're dealing with carcinogens and pollutants, then automatically the assumption is that you're the one that's poisoning this community. It's just logical sense, and yet everything is geared to protect these corporations.
Right.
And nobody's protecting these communities. Now, if you look at the Porter Ranch situation and what happened there, the health department came in and put people up in hotels, and they put these mobile homes for these kids to go to school in. They're not doing that in black and brown neighborhoods. They're not going to do that for us. Okay. So who's going to fight for these people? Somebody has to step up and do it.
And Anthony Rendon isn't fighting for those people?
Anthony Rendon is his job in the party is to raise money for the party. That's his job. Him and Nancy Pelosi are they're two biggest fundraisers for the party. He has no ties to that community. Him and his wife have two homes in the most expensive city in that district. He's rarely there. He moved his office because it was in Southgate. He now has an office in Lakewood, and he's just not. He's not representative of that community, and it's really unfortunate because when someone, I mean, just today, the amount of people that came out to canvass for me, it's very moving to me that someone would take the time on their day off without pay. It's hot outside, and they're doing this since 10, 11 in the morning, and they've been doing this for me for every weekend for the last several months, and even during the week, and that's to me, it's very, like I said, it's emotional for me. And when someone gives you, they trust you when they vote for you. Not only do you have a responsibility to them to do what you said you were going to do. So one of my part of my platform is actually literally to take over every school board seat, every city council seat, the water districts, the water problems that we're having there. It's been going on since before Flint. In Compton, the water looks like coffee. And nobody's doing anything about this. They're trying to gentrify right now these plans for that LA River through Southgate and all that area. And they're not planning on fixing the infrastructure there, but they're going to gentrify that neighborhood and move those people out and force those people out where they can't afford to even live in their own communities. So,
So has there been any polling done?
We have actually looked, and there's no polling in that district at all. But in 2014, it was about Adam Miller, who's a nice guy. I met with him. He's a Republican in the race. He runs specifically for the fact that there's nobody opposing him. He got 8,000 votes to Rendon's 12,000 votes. And this is a district of 460,000 people.
Wow.
So in 2014, in a midterm election, that's how low the voter turnout is.
Wow, disengaged. So you think you're getting people engaged? People who didn't used to vote are going to come out and vote for you?
I hope so. I mean, everybody's been telling me that most people don't even know who he is, and the people that do know who he is don't like him. So
he's a pretty transparent bullshitter.
Yeah, he looks like Nixon. Actually, I don't know if you've seen.
He kind of does now you mention it. Yeah, he's not good. He's the thing we have to get rid of. So here is your district right there.
Yes.
So that's the 63rd district, and it goes from just south of the city of Commerce, Bell Gardens, Linwood, Paramount. No, there's part of Compton included in that?
No, Compton is actually the 64th district.
Okay, and then Lakewood.
Yeah, and North Long Beach.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, North Long Beach, 90805, 807, and 808 is also part of the district.
My grandparents lived in Bell, so I'm familiar with Bell. We had a business in Huntington Park. There's still a business there for immigration. And I grew up in Linwood. So, so I'm from Linwood. I went to, my sister went to Hostler Junior High, Lindbergh Elementary School, and Will Rogers.
I went to Will Rogers.
Ah, yes, okay.
Oh, my God.
So, look at that.
That's so funny.
Oh, my gosh.
What year did you graduate in Linwood?
Oh, that's a secret, Maria. I don't
I graduated in 86. I just turned 50, so I'm good with my age. I'm all right.
Yes, you are good with your age.
I'm all right.
I think, what did they already call you? The silver truth teller here? So, what else should I, right now it definitely seems like you're going to represent the voice of the people. You also talked about, Compton and the water. Look at that. If we think things are bad in Flint, if we don't think the infrastructure has to be rebuilt throughout the nation and here in California, and it certainly seems that infrastructure for the poorer communities is being completely ignored. What do you hope to do once you're elected?
I'm going to use my power at every point possible to fight for my district and for my people and for the state. That is my job. Anyone who is elected for any position is elected by those people to represent those people. And if they're not doing that, they should not be in that position. And I think that every city council person should actually put out where they work. I mean, Jorge Morales is on city council of Southgate, and he works for an oil lobbying firm and helped World Oil get their contract extended in the city of Southgate without World Oil even contributing to the community. World Oil has been around since 1938. They should be doing something to help that community, and yet they're getting these contracts at cheap rent. And all of this stuff's happening. The city councils, the power is within your local government. The city councils are the ones that are tied to these corporations. There's a recall effort in Paramount for 5 of the school board members and the mayor. They extended their terms for 2 years, so they won't be election. And they've all received from those 7 companies gifts and monies. And those are the companies that are poisoning the community. So, I mean, that alone should tell you that there's a problem. And these people all need to be exposed. Just like with the Democratic Party, I'm sure you're aware that I filed a lawsuit against the Democratic Party for corruption and not following their own bylaws. The speaker and his staff contacted delegates and intimidated them and threatened them. And they of the endorsement process. And he had the balls 2 days later to speak at the Women's March for women's rights when he was calling women, bullying them. But this is the kind of shit that the party does, and
Yes.
they're notorious for it. So who do you think's approving all these settlements, these NDAs for all of these assemblymen with all the sexual harassment and all the shit that's going on? It's got to be people in power. So it's either the chair, the speaker, the mayor, the Senate pro tem, and the governor. Somebody's approving this money, and we're either the taxpayers paying for it or the party's paying for it out of our dues.
So why stay in the Democratic Party if they're actively screwing over people like
Because
you?
I want to do this in their face.
Okay. Really? So you don't I think the Democratic Party is corrupt.
It absolutely is to its core.
Yeah.
They're running this state into the ground.
Yes, they are.
And they're running it like a mafia.
Yes.
I mean, when we went in as to run for, because I didn't know how, like, we're just figuring out how it works. So when we went to run for ADEM elections to become delegates, I was in the 64th. I was with Compton for Bernie. The first time I met you was at the Coliseum, I believe. And the assemblyman there, Mike Gibson, brought in elderly people from the Senior Citizen Center in Dollarhide in Compton and the Watts Senior Community Center in leisure charter buses and brought them in. By the time those people were brought up, there were 3 cop cars. They called the cops on us, and they wouldn't allow us into the foyer where the entryway is. There was 2 doorways, one to go into a private breakfast that the assemblyman was having for these citizens, and one to go into the election room where we're supposed to speak to everyone, to the delegate, to the community, so they could vote for us. And so they get there, the cops are called on us, and they're trying to remove one of my fellow candidates. And I'm arguing with the cops, telling them, I have First Amendment rights and I can say whatever the fuck I want, because they were trying to remove my guy because they said he was aggressive. And I said, is that against the Constitution? Do we not have the right to be aggressive? He has the right to be in here. This is a public election and you're trying to remove him. And he didn't do anything wrong. Now, the guy that they said did it, Lucio, is the nicest guy. I can't imagine. If somebody would have said that I was yelling and cussing and whatever, you should believe them. But when they said that Lucio did, I'm like, that's bullshit. But they tried to remove him, and then I got mad. So these people are being hustled in, and they see us with the cops. So they get taken in that room, and they're told that we don't look like them. We're not like them. That we're bad people. We're troublemakers, and that they're not to vote for us. So we lost that slate. But across the state, from 2015, there was 1,500 delegates. It went up to, or 2014 to 2016, there were over 3,000 delegates because we infiltrated and got in that way. But at the conventions, they call the police on us all the time. In Millbrae, they call the police on us. I mean, they do it all the time. And we know how the cops treat brown people. So
Yeah.
What is the purpose of that?
So it's you, Rendon, and the Republican in the race. So,
Yes.
And in the way it works in California, the top 2 square off in the fall.
Correct.
So it'll probably you think that it'll probably be you against Rendon, right?
I would hope so. I'm actually hoping it's me against Adam Miller.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But it probably will be you against
Yeah.
Rendon, right?
Yes.
So okay. So you have to come back, and then we have to kick his ass in the fall, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the hope. That's the goal here.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think that it was just you got sick of it and it was time? Was it Bernie that woke you up? What do you? Because it seems like a lot of people are getting involved now that aren't, and they're really shocked at how corrupt the Democratic Party is.
Well, I've always been politically engaged, but I was in Moore Park and I was raising kids. So, and I have grandchildren. So, as politically engaged as I was, I have a it's about Palestinian rights or Syria or Yemen and stuff that happens all over the world, not just in the United States.
Okay.
So I'm engaged that way, but I was never hands-on. But when you have children, you can't be going out protesting when your kids got band practice or soccer practice and you're soccer mom. But I've always been engaged that way. And then when I moved back down here, right after I moved, my father passed away. My mother was in the hospital. It was just a series of events that happened. And then I ended up moving to Compton to be closer to my mom, and then got connected, and we Compton for Bernie, one of the founders of Compton for Bernie, and Rendon and I just, that skyrocketed, and then we were just all over the place, registering people and spreading the word about Bernie Sanders. But it was actually being in Philly and seeing just how disgusting that whole thing went down.
Oh.
And the fact that it's easier to vote in the Middle East than it is in the United States is just telling.
Don't tell that. Yeah, don't tell that to Kasparov, Gary Kasparov, or the Freedom Forum. But so how do you feel about how Bernie has handled everything since the primary?
I think that I'm disappointed in the fact that he didn't call out the corruption, the voter suppression, the election fraud that occurred, the fact that he's promoting this Russia propaganda. I don't know what that's about. It's really disappointing. I saw him with Sean King last night and BLM and Jasmine Kinnick, who I have a lot of respect for. And I agree with them on all this stuff, but I don't blindly follow anyone. That's just.
Well, and that's the funny thing Bernie says. You shouldn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I remember when they asked him, "Are you telling your followers to vote for Hillary?" And he says, "Yeah, but they're going to do what they want. They should listen to me. They should do what they should follow their culture." So he knows that too. So it's almost seems like he when he started his campaign, he was for revolution. He would say he was, and then now it's almost like he's for incrementalism because he's so wedded to the Democratic Party.
Well, we cannot, regardless of what Bernie says or does, we cannot allow ourselves to shift to the center. We need a hard left.
Yes.
So I mean, regardless, and they're saying that it's radical. It's not radical. We're just trying to put the country where it's supposed to be.
The majority of Americans are for Medicare for all.
Correct.
The majority of Americans want to end the wars.
Correct.
The majority of Americans want to invest in our infrastructure.
Correct.
All right. The majority of Americans, I think, are for breaking up the banks.
Correct.
Wouldn't you say?
We need a public bank in California.
That's damn right. So good for you. Yeah. So you're on it. All right. Well, listen, congratulations. You're going to win this. I'm just going to tell you already.
All right. Well, that's the hope.
That's why we wanted Maria here today, because we wanted to get the word out about Maria Estrada. So when you go and vote, you're going to vote for Maria Estrada.
So that's the key. It's the turnout. You got to get that turnout, and I'm no genius on how to do that. But offering people something to vote for certainly is a great way to get people out to vote. And you're offering people something.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to give people actually something to believe in, and a lot of people are discouraged and don't want to vote because of the corruption. I've heard it so many times, and I totally agree I get what they're saying, and I believe what they're saying. I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it. The fact that I have to file a lawsuit against the Democratic Party for their corruption is ridiculous. But that's where we're at. But I'm showing people that I'm down for this fight. I'm here for this fight, and I want to represent my community honestly.
Okay. Well, everybody, Maria Estrada, what's your website?
mariafораssembly.org, and that's FOR.
Okay, mariafораssembly.org. If you want to help out, you want to volunteer, that's fantastic. Great talking to you. Best of luck.
Good seeing you.
Our next live Jimmy Dore show is July 1st in Portland, Oregon, and July 15th in Chicago, Illinois. We're doing a live show July 15th in Chicago, Illinois. Go to a link right there for all the tickets to all the live Jimmy Dore shows. Plus, if you can help become a premium member, we give you hours of bonus material every week. Become a patron or a premium member. And if you're on Steam It, we're steaming it right now. Plus, every Saturday, we do a live Super Solid Chat Saturday where it's a live stream and you can ask us questions and we'll answer them back. Every Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks for your support.